I'm proud of the boys and how far they've come. We're hoping that they will come back next year.
It's a record to be proud of. Tonight, fans lined the tarmac at Bluegrass Airport to welcome home the Cats. And fans took to the streets after Kentucky's historic season came to an end. We'll take a look at the cleanup on State Street in Lexington.
Well, people who live along the water in Cynthiana say it was a long night of watching and worrying.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 6.
The Wildcats are back in the Bluegrass. Good evening. I'm Kristen Kennedy. Fans lined up outside Bluegrass Airport to welcome them home this afternoon. And while last night's game didn't turn out the way we all hoped, we have a lot to be proud of. WKYT's Sam Smith talked to fans about a historic season.
Yeah, earlier today, this entire area was filled with UK fans waiting to greet the Wildcats as they got off the plane. The plane arrived around 2:30, but fans arrived at Bluegrass Airport much earlier, peeking through the fence to catch a glimpse of the plane and eventually the players. When the plane touched down and started taxiing over, Cats chants began. The players got off their plane, walked over by the fenced-off area to greet the fans up close before leaving on their bus.
They had a great season, even though we lost last night. I'm proud of the boys and how far they've come. We're hoping that they will come back next year. I'm probably sure that a few will go, but if they don't, we would welcome them back and we would do this again.
Everyone here that I talked with about this team say they're proud of what this team accomplished, and I think that showed with today's turnout. In Lexington, Sam Smith, WKYT.
Last night was the team's first loss of the season, and those players were hurt. When they took the podium to talk to reporters, the mics picked up a comment player Andrew Harrison muttered to fellow teammates. It's a comment that's getting a lot of attention, one he's now addressing on social media. WKYT's Lee K. Howard is here to explain. Lee K.
Yeah, during last night's postgame press conference, Andrew Harrison was heard mumbling profanity and a slur when a reporter asked Carl Towns about Wisconsin player Frank Kaminsky. Andrew's slip-up quickly gained national attention, and early this morning, Andrew apologized on Twitter. First, I want to apologize for my poor choice of words used in jest toward a player I respect and know. When I realized how this could be perceived, I immediately called Big Frank to apologize and let him know I didn't mean any disrespect. We had a good conversation, and I wished him good luck in the championship game on Monday. And this afternoon, Frank Kaminsky responded with, he reached out to me, we talked about it, we're over it, nothing more needs to be made of it. Kristen?
Lee K, a lot of students are cleaning up after a long night on State Street. That area of town flooded with fans minutes after the game ended. Hundreds packed into the intersection of Elizabeth and State Street while officers in riot gear watched over the crowd. WKYT's Hillary Thornton talked with students this morning just waking up.
Well, it is certainly not the way that Big Blue Nation expected yesterday to go. A difficult loss for Cats fans, especially for the thousands gathered here in the State Street area. And that was a crowd that Lexington police say was both rowdy and at times hostile.
Thought we were at least going to get to the final round, but that didn't even happen.
30-1, it's good, but it's also really sad.
I know, and then the one game to Wisconsin too.
For many, last night's abrupt ending to the historic season still hurts.
It sank in last night, but now it's really real.
A feeling of defeat.
Everybody thought this was our year, but it wasn't.
Something Cats fans have not had to deal with all season, the aftermath seen near UK's campus.
Trash and quiet now.
Trash and quiet. It's so much trash.
The celebrations replaced by riots, with several fires and fights breaking out. Fans say the atmosphere was obviously different from after victories, but also different than last year's championship loss to Connecticut.
Expectations were not as high as this year.
Making for an obviously unhappy crowd, police made 31 post-game arrests, were forced to use pepper balls to break up a fight, and had to provide safety escorts for firefighters making their way through the crowds to put out fires.
For UK, it's way more than a game. We're still very proud.
I'm still very proud to be a Kentucky Wildcat.
Yeah, I'm just proud that our expectations are this high.
Just like those fans said, even though this season did end with some disappointment, there is certainly still a lot to be proud of. In Lexington, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
City leaders say first responders took 3 people to UK hospital last night, none with serious injuries. They also say no one seriously damaged any cars or homes. We got a break from the storms and the flooding this Easter Sunday, but the beautiful cool weather is going to be short-lived. Meteorologist Jim Caldwell is tracking more rounds of storms in our work week.
Yeah, it's a daily shot that we'll likely be tracking around here, with a few showers and thunderstorms possible tomorrow. Tomorrow might be one of the drier days, but it won't be completely dry. We look outside right now, we're already tracking those clouds into the area that's going to set us up for more rounds of showers and storms. And again, like I said, starting with tomorrow. Right now, we're at 61 degrees in Lexington with a west-southwest wind coming in at around 8 miles per hour. All over the place, we're finding those 60s, low and mid. You go down the road to London, though, and they're up to 67 degrees out in eastern Kentucky and Jackson, 64. So very pleasant anywhere you look. And we had sunshine for most of the day. It's just the past couple of hours, that's when we started tracking those clouds. There's Defender, not tracking rain around here just yet, but there's some out there. Our focus of the forecast, of course, will be those rounds of rain. We'll be tracking a daily chance of showers and storms around here. Some get a little more aggressive and a little more active as we head toward the middle and especially the latter part of the week. I'll take a closer look at that coming up for you here in just a few minutes.
People across the Bluegrass are still dealing with high water from Friday's storms. Franklin County is still under a state of emergency. WKYT's Mike Linden talked to people living near Elkhorn Creek. They're dealing with some of the worst flooding in the area.
Franklin County is under a state of emergency following torrential rain on Friday. As a result, creeks, streams, and the Kentucky River are all at flood stage.
We got about a 25-foot rise in 36 hours, which is a huge rise in that short amount of time.
While Russell says that the river is quite high at 35 feet, it's not the all-time highest that the Kentucky River has ever been in Frankfort. That occurred December 10th, 1978, when the river rose almost to 48.5 feet. And that means where I'm standing, I would be completely covered with water. Nearby Elkhorn Creek has seen some of the worst flooding in the county.
The water got up to, this is how high it got up on our air conditioners here.
Mark Drury lives alongside the creek. He says floodwater was completely covering his yard.
It came up quicker this time than I've ever seen it. We weren't expecting it to come up the way it did. You know, we normally watch it come up and we can gauge pretty much by how much rain has been in Jessamine County.
With more rain in the forecast this coming week, emergency management officials are hoping for drier days to follow.
We just need a few dry days to get rid of this event, and then we'll start worrying about the next one. It seems like it's been a year of snow, sleet, rain. You know, sometime we'll get a break, and I'll get more than 5 hours sleep any night.
In Franklin County, Mike Linden, WKYT.
Franklin County Emergency Management has a website with more information on road closures and other flooded areas in the county. For a link to that site, go to WKYT.com. Emergency management crews are also keeping a close eye on the Licking River. Cynthiana police tell us the water is continuing to rise and threatening some homes in the area. WKYT's Sean Moody talked to people living nearby.
Cynthiana police said the Licking River crested early this morning at 22.9 feet. There are a lot of people who live along the water, and they tell me last night was a long night of watching and worrying. Regina Williams has lived along the banks of Grays Run Creek for 13 years.
It's come up every year we're here.
But not usually this much.
It keeps you on needles and pins for sure.
Regina and her husband Brian were watching this one pretty closely. They put this stake in the ground at the water line around midnight.
And it kept creeping. 4 o'clock this morning when I got up, it was 3 foot on this side of it. I was like, oh, here we go. It's going to keep coming.
Grays Run pours into the Licking River just a few hundred feet downstream. Their baseball fields were underwater. Police said they had several roads closed overnight because of flooding from the river, but by late morning, that water started going back down. It looked like the threat from this round of rain was over, but with more rain in the forecast, Regina's keeping an eye out.
Waiting and seeing what happens, and when I saw that it had gone down this morning, I said, thank you, Jesus.
Cynthiana police say the city did not have to open up its shelter this time. They'll be keeping a close eye on these water levels throughout the week. In Cynthiana, Sean Moody, WKYT.
Rising water also caused problems at the Cynthiana Airport. We're told the runway and some taxiways flooded. One person is dead and 4 others injured after a fight in Louisville. Police say the 5 people were fighting on 40th and Grand overnight. Emergency crews took 2 people to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, and 1 person they say died at the scene.
Our victim is a black male believed to be perhaps in his late teens to early 20s. At this time, he has not yet been positively identified. We'll await the coroner's report as well as the medical examiner for specific details on how many gunshot wounds he received as well as his identification.
So far, Louisville police have not identified any other individuals involved. A man is recovering tonight after a wreck in Georgetown. Police tell us a truck was traveling northbound on Cherry Blossom Way this morning when a driver on Timberland Way pulled out in front of it. We're told the truck lost control, rolled onto its roof, and partially ejected the driver, dragging him along the road. Right now, we're told that driver is in stable condition. The search for a missing hiker in southern Kentucky ended this afternoon. Search and rescue crews say the 20-year-old went missing around 2 o'clock yesterday. Crews searched the area overnight, but later found him near the Laurel County line. They say he was safe and alert when they found him.